What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on the episode, and we've got a special guest back for a third time on the show, former NFL head coach Hue Jackson. Hue, it's always awesome to have you on.
Hey, it's always great to be on. You guys are doing some great stuff, and you guys bring the real about football, and I really appreciate that.
That's awesome. It's great to hear that. Now let's talk about a little bit about your tequila brand Leyenda Tequila, 100% USDA organic tequila.
Absolutely. We are excited about it. We have all four marks from Blanco and Silver, Reposado, and Anejo, and we're in 48 states online at Country Wine and Spirits. That's where people can find it. And we're in a lot of different states, so we're doing a good job of slowly rolling it out, but we're making some progress.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Now, first off, I'd like to say congrats on becoming the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee State Tigers under new head coach and former legendary running back Eddie George. It's great to see you get back into coaching, and how excited are you to be joining that staff at Tennessee State?
Well, I'm very excited. Obviously, working for a guy like Eddie George, we share a similar vision. We're aligned correctly. We collaborate together. Obviously, this is Eddie's football team, and we're just excited as a staff just to help him attain his goals.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, that team, Tennessee State, they've gone 3-9 and 2-5 in the last two seasons. I look forward to seeing you guys turn this football program around. Are you excited about that process and getting them on the winning side?
Absolutely. That's the plan. The plan is to get this team to be the best they can be. Obviously, there's some tremendous talent there right now. We got some coaching to do. We got some recruiting to do. But we're excited about the challenge.
Awesome. Now, Dustin, you have a question?
Yeah. So, Coach, where do you think the game of football is at this moment, and what kind of offense wins football games? And do you prefer a run first or a balanced offense?
Well, right now, where football is the passing game. The passing game is the beauty of the game. But obviously, I think you got to be able to run the football because you got to be a physical football team, and that's where it starts. So I want to be a team that's balanced, have the ability to run the ball when people say you can't, and be able to throw the ball whenever you want to. I truly believe you throw to score, but you run to win.
I like that.
Do you like to take what the defense gives you, or are you more of an aggressive kind of defensive guy?
Oh, no, I'm aggressive. I think you want to dictate to the defense. If you just take what the defense gives you, they may not be giving you anything. So you have to be able to dictate to teams what you want to do. And if you can't play that way, then it becomes very difficult for offensive coaches and for offensive players because we want to be as aggressive as the defenses are.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Now, recently you had comments about your time with the Browns, and I found those comments to be refreshing. To show the truth that's going on, in some of these organizations. I would be upset as well if an organization, sold to me, not only me as a head coach, but the fans as well, that you're trying to compete and trying to win while tanking and not spending in free agency. So I can understand that.
Well, thank you. It was time to be honest and forthcoming because it killed my career. Let's just be very honest. And that's disappointing. I don't think anybody should be a sacrificial lamb for anybody, not in that space, because it doesn't have to be that way. So I've said my piece about it. I've told the truth. I wish people would dig into it more to understand where I'm coming from. You get a bad rap when you're honest. I thought honesty would be the best policy, but sometimes honesty is not the best situation at times.
Now, were you surprised by that? I mean, are you surprised this kind of stuff still happens in the NFL?
Yeah, I am surprised because I don't think it's something that you have to do. You can be competitive and still build a good team. I mean, look at their team right now.
Yeah.
That team was built. So why couldn't we have built that team starting in 2016? So obviously that just goes to show you that you can do what you want to do. And they did what they wanted to do with me. So yeah, I'm surprised that it happens because it shouldn't happen. It goes against everything that the NFL says it stands for. But at the same time, unless somebody puts a hope to it when it happens, it's gonna continue to happen.
Yeah, and I saw a little bit of the same thing being a Bears fan in Chicago when we traded up to draft Trubisky, and there didn't seem to be a lot of communication between the GM and our head coach John Fox at the time, and I think that led to a lot of the issues in Chicago.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, everybody comes in, hopefully having the same vision and working together until somebody makes a decision they want to do what they want to do. And that's when it changes. And you got to make sure that those things are in your contract that way so that you don't suffer some of the situations that I did.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Dustin, you got one?
Yes. So you are a great quarterback talent, but would have been in the game for a long time. What are your thoughts on this year's quarterback talent in the draft? Is it strong?
I think it's a very strong class. I think it's strong from top to bottom. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is probably going to go to Jacksonville. It's looking that way. Looks like the young kid from BYU is going to go to the Jets. I think the toss-up is what's going to happen at number 3. Everybody's watched San Francisco trade up. It could be from Fields. It could be Lance. Obviously, it could be Jones.
Yeah.
So somebody's gonna get drafted there. My guess would be it could be Mr. Jones. And I think people forget what kind of year he had. Not that I don't like the other 2 guys. He was just as productive as Joe Burrow, who was the first overall pick a year ago. So I would not be surprised if Mac Jones goes there.
Nice. Speaking of Trevor Lawrence, I'm interested in your comments on this. His dad recently said he doesn't have to win a Super Bowl, or he doesn't have a win a Super Bowl at all costs kind of mentality. And then his high school coach said he could walk away from the game tomorrow and be fine. I think we all see Lawrence's tremendous talent and upside at the NFL game. Would these kind of comments worry you if you were Urban Meyer?
Absolutely, it would, because that guy's got to be all in on when it comes to everything. And you want a guy that's going to fight, scratch, claw, knock the doors down. Not saying that he won't, but again, those were comments that were made by people that know him best.
Yeah.
So that's concerning to me, and it tells me that maybe the hunger to be the best at what you do is just not there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Something to keep an eye on. Dustin, go ahead.
Yeah, so the Jets traded Sam Darnold to the Panthers and seemed to be all in on Zach Wilson. Do you think that was a smart move to move on from Darnold and take Wilson? And do you think Wilson can be that guy in New York?
Absolutely. I think it's a smart move for everybody. First, I think it's a smart move for the organization. You had a quarterback that's been in a tough situation in New York. He was a high draft pick. If things didn't go well, that's what the fans remember, and for the young man, they've moved on from him. He's now in a situation where I think he's going to continue to get better. I think Sam Darnold's an unbelievable talent. He needs to be in the right environment so that he can go showcase his talent and ability, because I think he's very talented. And then you have a new head coach. You have a new staff. And they're going to want their own quarterback. They don't want to be saddled with somebody that they didn't pick. So you're giving them a chance to pick their quarterback, this head coach, to get his guy that he feels like is going to take his vision for offense and run with it. So I think it's a win-win for everybody involved.
Yeah, I like it. And I agree with that. Now, we talked about the 49ers briefly and Matt Jones and the big decision they have. And I'm under the impression that if you're the 49ers and you trade up from number 12 to 3, I think at that moment you already know who you want. You've already got a pretty good idea of what quarterback you want. I believe it's Mac Jones, and I think they're doing their due diligence in doing the pro day stuff with Trey Lance and Justin Fields. Do you agree that if you're going to make a move like that, you kind of already have an idea of who you want?
You better. That's the whole reason why you do what you do. And I think they knew the Jets were going to take Zach Wilson because, those guys have a relationship. The head coach came from San Francisco. Yeah. So there were conversations and everybody knew which way that was trending. So you just said it. It was going to be those next 3 or 4 guys. Who are they? And when you start to really piece it together, you can look and see where things were trending. And I don't think they can go wrong, but I think Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play callers in football. He knows what he wants and he knows what it takes in order to make his offense go. And God, I think the young man, Mac Jones, is the pick. Now, that being said, I'm not down on Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm
Yeah,
not. If he can stay healthy, then he has a chance to be successful as well. But so it puts him in a pretty good spot at the quarterback position. And I think that's what you want as a head coach.
that's awesome. Go ahead, Dustin.
All right, Coach. So what is your take on Trey Lance and Justin Fields, and who do you believe has the highest ceiling?
I think Justin Fields does. I mean, I know a lot of people try to compare him to some of the other Ohio State quarterbacks that have come out. I think that's unfair. Obviously, he didn't go there first. He went to Georgia first and transferred there and had a tremendous career there. But I think, you get kind of put into the same boat as some of the other guys that played. But I think he's very talented. Obviously, he's faster than a lot of us thought he was. He can make every throw. He's shown that from a mental standpoint, he can get it done. He's shown toughness in games there and down the stretch, obviously against Clemson. So I think this guy has what it takes. Nothing against Trey Lance. But again, I wish I would have seen more of Trey Lance this past year. We saw a lot of Justin Fields, and I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just curious though. Out of those three, Jones, Lance, or Fields, which one would you take?
Probably for me and the way I like to play would probably be Fields because I think the quarterback's legs are important in the National Football League. You just look at what Lamar Jackson has done, and so you're getting a guy with the speed of Justin Fields, but who also has the arm talent and who can complete the ball on a high level. So I just think he changes the game for you offensively.
Nice. Looking at the Dolphins, I think they're going to take offensive weapons in the first round. Go like wide receiver Jamar Chase, and then possibly running back Najee Harris later in the first round to help Tua be as successful as he can be. What's your opinion on taking a running back in the first round? And Najee is reminds me of like a workhorse number one running back, a little old school. Do you think that style of running back can still be successful, or do you prefer running back by committee?
No, I think it can be successful. Just look at Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
He's owns the National Football League. So there's no question in my mind that it can, but it's got to be the right guy. And those big guys, that's what they can do. They ground and pound. And so they wear defenses down. In the fourth quarter, they hurt you. So if he's built that way, I'm talking about Najee Harris, then obviously he's the right fit. But it's got to be the right fit for your offensive football team and the coordinator and what the head coach wants at the end of the day.
And then one more question from me. Tell me I'm wrong or crazy here, Hugh, and you would know this well, I think. You coached Andy Dalton for 4 years with the Bengals, made the playoffs every year. I'm a Bears fan, and they brought in Andy Dalton this offseason. I don't like the move. I think that he hasn't really been the same quarterback since like 2018. And at this point, he's a good, solid backup quarterback in the NFL, like he was with Dallas last year. With the Bears GM bringing in Dalton to go with Nick Foles, I just feel like it's an uncompetitive quarterback room compared to the rest of the NFL. And it's not going to lead to many wins this year. What do you think on that? What would you say to Bears fans feeling that way?
Well, I would say to the Bears fans, first, give Andy a chance. Obviously, I coached him, so I'm kind of partial to him, but that's with me coaching him. And I'm just being very honest about that. I think he's talented. I think in the right environment, right situation, he can win, but I totally get where you're coming from, Alex. Obviously, they took a guy who was a backup in Dallas, couldn't get them over the hump, and now he's a starter in Chicago. I think to the fans, they wanted more and expected more and didn't get it. But I would say just give him a chance. He's going to be the quarterback. Let's see if he can do it. And if he can't, then obviously they got to make a different decision.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dustin.
Alrighty, so the Colts traded for Carson Wentz from the Eagles after struggling and getting benched for Jalen Hurts. Now that Wentz has landed in a much better situation in Indy and reuniting with Frank Reich, do you think he can turn his career around and be successful?
Oh, absolutely. I think the head coach is staking his future on that. When you go and make a decision to trade for the number 2 overall pick in the draft in 2016 and put him on your team, that means you believe you can get him back to where he was because they're a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl, talking about the Colts. So obviously, I think he's a tremendous player. I think he's very talented. Obviously, things didn't go well in Philadelphia the last year. And that could be for a lot of different reasons. Hey, look, if there was a statue placed out in front of your house of somebody that was a rival of yours, you wouldn't like it either. You know, so he had a lot of things he was battling. The guy that won a Super Bowl, the guy's statue out in front of the building, just the whole 9 yards, and then the offensive line and no receivers. And wow, that's a lot for a young player to deal with. So I think I get that. I know a lot of people don't understand that, but that's sometimes a lot to overcome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dustin. One more.
Alrighty, so finally the Lions at pick 7 overall after acquiring Jared Goff and 2 first rounds in a trade with the Rams. I believe Chris Spielman and the Lions will jump at the opportunity to take Justin Fields if he falls to 7. Do you think that would be a smart decision by the Lions? And is Jared Goff a franchise quarterback in the NFL?
I think Jared Goff is. I don't know what happened in LA. This guy went to the Super Bowl, you know, and he led them to the playoffs this past year. So, I mean, I know he didn't have the success that people thought he should have had, but a lot of quarterbacks don't. You know, somewhere there was a disconnect. Things got disjointed. And so the price was the split. I still think he's a good player. Now, does he need some help? All quarterbacks do. They need some kind of help, you know, so hopefully he'll get that in Detroit. If I'm Detroit and if there's a quarterback I feel is a better player than him, then I have to take him because I have a new head coach, a new opportunity, and we can move forward that way. So, but if not, then I'm going to take the best fit for my football team in a need position at that pick.
Okay, awesome. Good stuff. Really appreciate it.
I got one more thing, Alex.
Okay, go ahead, Dustin.
All right. Again, Coach, thanks for coming on, and it was an honor to have you on again. And I wish you the best at Tennessee State.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, best of luck at Tennessee State. We'll be cheering you on. Thanks for the time and have a good one, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the opportunity. You guys are great. I really appreciate being on, being a part of your podcast, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.